Okay, guys, today we are going to look through Chapter 7 test, and we are going to try to answer any questions you have. Hopefully after you do this, you'll have a better understanding of Chapter 7. So as I go through the test, anything I write down, any notes I make, please write those down, and then if you think of anything additional, feel free to do that. We will collect these, and then that will count as extra credit on your test for those who need that. That'll be a little bump in your grade. All right, so I'm going to start at the beginning. We got number 1. It says simplify the expression. Write your answer as a power. I've got y7 and y to the 6th. We said when our rule for multiplying with the same base is we add the exponent. So my answer would be y to the power of 13. Some of you on your test put 13. Some of you put 6 to the 13th. It was a wide variety. You keep the base, add the exponents. Keep the base, add the exponents. Okay. All right, number 2, we're raising a power to a power. It says to simplify the expression, write your answer as a power. So the only thing we can do is raise the power of 2 to 6. And remember, parentheses mean multiply. So what is 2 times 6? So we have 9 to the 12th. So make a note. Raise a power to a power. You multiply the exponents. Keep the base. Okay. All right, number 3, we have xy in parentheses raised to the 6th power. So I gave my class the example of inside the parentheses is the people in the classroom. That number 6 is me at the door with a plate full of cookies. When I come in the classroom, everybody in the parentheses in the classroom is going to get the cookies. So I'm giving cookies to X, and I'm giving cookies to Y. So everybody would get that amount. So X to the 6th and Y to the 6th. Okay? Everybody gets the cookies. All right, number 4, we had simplify the expression. We had X to the 8th over X to the 5th. When they are, I gave the example, when they are stacked, you subtract. So when dividing, keep the base, subtract the exponents. And on number 3, we could have written the word distribute, because that's what we did with that exponent. We distributed it to each side in each piece in the parentheses. All right, so 8 minus 5 gives me 3. So X to the 3rd. All right, number 5, we have another division, but this time it says evaluate. That means solve. All right, so when they're stacked, we subtract. So 4 minus 5 is what we were doing. So 4 minus 5. So that gives me -1. I still have an exponent, so I haven't evaluated it yet. We said when you have a negative exponent, you put it under 1. So we have 1 over 4 to the 1st. And now I know in my class I went back and I tried to give credit if you got to at least here, but technically your final answer should be 1 over 4. We don't leave an exponent showing because that's not really a finished answer. So 1/4 should have been your final. Okay. All right, then number 6, we're changing to scientific notation. and it says, which number approximates 82,929? Now, if you look at all your choices, they have the decimal right behind the 8, so they got that in the right spot, and the exponent tells you how many times you moved the decimal. So that it shows your place value. That's what that's talking about. So it started here and we moved it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So 8 times 10 to the 4th. Okay. All right, number 7, we have which number approximates this. Now, I noticed a few of you, when you were working this on your Chromebook, you zoomed in on your screen, which was a really good idea because it is hard to count all those zeros. And if you look at all your choices, they get the decimal behind the 5. They even made it nice and easy that all the exponents are negative, because we know that's what happens when your decimal's in the front. So you really only had to count correctly. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So 5 times 10 to the negative 8. Alright. And it was a negative exponent. We'll just make a note. Negative exponent the decimal was at the front of the number. So that means that it was a number less than 1. The negative exponent, the decimal was at the front of the number is less than 1. Okay. All right. Now, on the next page, on number 8, still in scientific notation, they ask you to write the number in scientific notation. So they gave us 0.00715, and we know that the decimal needs to move right behind the 7. So I'm going to have 7.15 times 10, and we said if the decimal begins in the front, you're going to have a negative exponent, and we moved it 1, 2, 3 times. So negative 3. Some of you missed that problem because you didn't put a negative on your 3, or you had the wrong exponent. You might have got your decimal in the right spot, but you didn't have the right number for the exponent. And then number 9 says write the number in standard form. Well, if you got this one right, and then you looked at this, you really already had the answer, but you had to know you were in the right. So negative 3, we're having to move it 1, 2, 3 times. So I'm going to need a 0, a decimal, 2 zeros to fill these 2 spots, and then 715. All right, number 10 said find the sum, and it had the addition sign. Write your answer in scientific notation. We know that the exponents must match, and they did, so you didn't even have to work at that. So all I'm going to need to do is add the 2 front numbers here, these coefficients. So 6.8 plus 2.3, 8 and 3 is 11, carry the 1, 6 and 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9, bringing my decimal straight down. So I have 9.1 times 10, and when we're adding or subtracting, we keep the exponent. So 10 to the 4th. So make a little note. Adding or subtracting, keep the power of 10. Okay. Because it's just a label at that point. We're combining like terms. All right, number 11 said find the product. So we're multiplying. So I know that 7 times 8 is 56. When we are multiplying in scientific notation, I don't think I spelled that right. When multiplying, we are going to add the exponents.
Pardon this interruption, folks. Two things. First, the timesheets are in the office printed and in the office ready to sign. If you could make your way up sometime today, that would be appreciated. Second, we have found a Pandora bracelet in the building. If you lost one and can identify your charms, please come to the office. Thank you.
Okay, so we are multiplying 7 times 8, and then we said we're going to add the exponents. So I have negative 2 and 5. So negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Some people put this in for the answer, but this is not in scientific notation. Remember, the decimal has to be right here. It has to be a number greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. So I'm going to make it 5.6, and when my decimal moves to the left, my exponent increases. So 5.6 times 10 to the 4th. All right, then number 12 says to find the quotient. So we are dividing. So I have 2.3 times 10 to the negative 4 over 9.2 times 10 to the negative 4. The main mistake I saw in my classroom were people divided 2.3 into 9.2, which went a nice even 4 times, but that is not how we set the problem up. This means 2.3 divided by 9.2. Okay, so that's how you should have set it up. And then, of course, we have to move the decimal because we've got to divide by a whole number. So, right here, sorry, so I'm moving this. So I really have 92 into 23. Now, 92 doesn't go into 23, so that's 0 times. And then 92 into 230, that's going to go twice, because think about it, that's almost 100 itself, so there's not going to be room for more. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 9 is 18. I'm going to subtract. So I have 6. I have 4. So we're going to go one more time. And then if I go 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 is 46. So I have 0.25 times 10, and we said that we subtract the exponents. Well, negative 4 minus negative 4, think about your keep, change, that's 0. So you have 10 to the 0. Now, this is not in scientific notation. The decimal has to back up one time, and if you back up, your exponent decreases, so we would be at negative 1. So 2.5 times 10 to the negative 1. All right, then 13, it says write the expression using exponents. So this one's real simple. This is just 3.1. And we had 4 of them, so it was to the 4th power. And that was it. That's all you do. I had some people that wrote 3.1 times 10 to the 4th power. This is not scientific notation. This is just how many 3.1s do you have. Okay. All right, 14 said evaluate. Evaluate means solve, and you were using order of operations. So negative 3 squared is 9. So I have 9 plus 24 divided by 6. Some of you missed this because you did not do your order of operations. 24 divided by 6 is 4, and 9 plus 4 is 13. So order of operations was what you needed to know. And that 2 negatives made a positive, okay, because those parentheses were there. All right, number 15, we've got a combination of things going on. So let's take care of the top first, because anytime you have a fraction bar, that's like groupings. So I've got 8 to the 5th times 8 to the 3rd times 8 to the 2nd on top. So I'm going to keep the 8, and I'm going to add my exponents. So 5 plus 3 plus 2 is 10. And on the bottom, I have 8 to the 8th. Then I've got to know that when I'm dividing, I keep my base and subtract my exponents. So 10 minus 8 is 2. So that was my final answer, 8 to the 2nd power. Some of you had really large numbers. You tried to solve it, but it said write your answer as a power. So you were just simplifying. All right, and then number 16, it said find the sum. So again, exponents already match. You didn't have to do any work there. So you're adding 1.7 plus 3.5. All right, so 7 plus 5 gave you 12. 3 plus 1 is 5. So I have 5.2 times 10 to the 3rd. Keep the exponents. We are adding. Okay? And my decimal's in a good spot. So that's it. Okay? All right, so you need your name on this paper. You need to make sure that you have written down all the extra things that I have written down. If not, go back and, sorry, that's not paper. Go back and write those down, and then you're going to turn in your paper, and we will add some extra points to your test. All right, thanks, guys.